Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sophie, or Soph, also known as Soph, here on YouTube, over on Instagram and on TikTok. Feels like an age since I've sat in front of this camera and said hi and updated you on what I've been stitching. I have had a very busy August. I've been away for 2 weeks camping and I've had a yoga retreat, finished a job that I've been working at for 4 years, and I'm starting a new one tomorrow. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind in August. So I've not done as much stitching as I usually do. I have still been stitching because it does keep me sane. So I do have some updates to show you, but just not as much as normal for a month's worth of stitching. I don't have any finishes, which I usually start with, so I will just start with my new starts. So if you have been around for a while, you will know that I did a poll on Instagram and on YouTube asking which whip you would like me to stitch next. So the one on YouTube, one pattern was picked, and over on Instagram another pattern was picked, and I couldn't figure out how to put them together and see which one was the overall winner. So I ended up having to start two, which is never a bad thing really, is it? So I've started two new starts, which I will show you in a moment. Firstly, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has subscribed recently. It really makes my day every time I see a subscription come through. I just get really excited, and it blows my mind that people want to sit here and watch me. So I just want to say a huge thank you to you guys. If you are new, this is a channel all about cross stitch, where I talk about everything cross stitch, all my stitchy updates. So if that's something you would like, stick around, give me a like, give me a subscribe. By the end of the video I'll talk about films and series, and then I'll go through a couple of books that I've been reading as well. Just sharing my hobbies. So my first new start is Mourning Tree, or Victorian Morning Willow by Night Spirit Studio. I'm not sure which name it is, but I've seen it listed as both, so I will link it below anyway. It's easy to find on Etsy if you were interested in buying it. So this is what it'll look like completed, and this is my start on it. So as you can see, I've done a fair bit actually for a new start. I couldn't put it down for 2 days, and then I had to stop myself because I've got a deadline on one of my current whips at the moment. But I just love the colours. There's only 3 colours in this. There is black, and then the gold colour, and then white as well. And it's quite an easy pattern to follow. Night Spirit Studio I find quite easy to follow. Yeah, I haven't made a start on the tree yet. I've just done the grass, the urn, I guess it's called, and then the little skull as well. Thoroughly enjoying this one. This is stitched on 18 count black Aida. It's quite a stiff Aida, so it's not as good as Aida I've had in the past, but I'm making do. It's stitched with DMC. So I started this on the 18th of August, and it's stitched 2/1 full cross, and I'm really enjoying this one at the moment. But I did have to put it down. I think once I finish the other one, definitely picking this one up again, because it's just an easy stitch and very effective looking. So that is that one. The next new start is the other one. I think this one won on Instagram poll. This is called Pink and Sun Landscape by Crystal Feather Crafts on Etsy. So this is what it'll look like completed, and this is my little start on it. So I've started stitching the tree and the little bit of grass, as you can see. I'm stitching this 2/2 on 28 count even weave in white. And I'm actually using CXC for this. This is the first pattern I've stitched in CXC, and I have to say I actually really like it. It's a lot cheaper than DMC. It is a bit shinier, which I don't particularly like. It is fluffier, so there's a bigger coverage on it. And so far I haven't knotted any of this, but I've not stitched much yet. I do find that DMC knots a lot, but I will let you know when I'm further into this pattern whether CXC is the same. But so far I'm quite impressed with it, and I think it's something I will look to buy in the future as well as DMC, just because I'm looking after my purse strings. I'm tightening my purse strings, should I say. So this one I started on the 21st of August, and yeah, I really love it. I can't wait to stitch more on this one. So that is it for my new starts for the month. That's quite a lot of new starts for me. I used to believe I was more of a monogamous stitcher. I think I'd work on one project at a time, but I've actually got 7 whips on the go at the moment. That doesn't seem a lot compared to many other floss tubers. I'm not going to say I'm not going to get there. I think 10 for me would be the maximum at the moment, but you know, I've been enabled so much so far since I started that maybe I will be at that, you know, 30 count one day, but I don't know about that. So, you know, my brain gets a bit overwhelmed with the 7 I've got so far. But we shall see. Watch this space, I suppose. I haven't worked on all of my whips this month. I've worked on 3 plus those new starts, so I've worked on 5 altogether. The first one I wanted to show you is my oldest whip at the moment. This is the Queen/Freddie Mercury by Unique Stitch Crafts. This is no longer available on Etsy, which is such a shame because it's a really lovely pattern. So this is what it'll look like completed. And this is where I was last time I showed you. And if I'm completely honest, there's not a whole lot of difference compared to the last time I showed you, but this is where I am. So I have finally stitched the Q in white, and I've had to unstitch the U and then restitch it again because when I stitched the U last time it looked quite dirty and a completely different colour to the Q, and as you can see it still looks a bit different. But I think it's just because of the colours that it's stitched against. The white looks a bit different. It's from the same batch, so I don't know what's happened there. I'm just going to have to deal with it. But I've restitched it and then I've started on the second page here. But I've not done loads on this one. It is really nice finish, but it can be quite tedious just because there's so many different colours in like block colours that you need to stitch. I do really enjoy stitching Freddie Mercury here, so I think what I'm going to do is stitch as much as I can of the outside and leave him for the last, save the best for last basically, so I'm not, you know, finishing on a huge chunk of colour. But that is where I am on this one, and as it is my oldest whip, I feel like this is one I need to concentrate on to get completed by the end of the year, but I'll see where I get with that one. This is stitched on 18 count Zweigart Ada in white, and it's stitched in all the called for DMC. I started this on the 13th of April, and yeah, that's a good look at it there. I just wanted to mention we are still in summer, or coming to the end of summer in Wales, and it was very sunny when I started filming this, and now it's got a bit cloudy, so there is a change in light, just so you're aware of that. I can't really control it at the moment. I've got the window open because I wanted natural light, and we'll just see where we go with this. So that's why the light is going to be changing. There's nothing I can do for it right now, so I think we're just going to have to deal with it. The next whip that I wanted to show you is the one that I've got a bit of a deadline on. So this is the second time that I've stitched this, and I am stitching it for my cousin Sarah, I've mentioned in the past, who actually is a crafter as well, but she crafts crochet. So she crocheted this lovely blanket behind me, and she's made loads of ponchos for me as well. She's called My Dilly Darling on Instagram. If you want to go check her out, I'll link her below. And this pattern that I'm doing for her is called Seaside by Stitch Rovia or Emma Congdon. This is what it'll look like completed, and this picture is actually the picture of the one I stitched previously for my dad. So that is also a finish of mine from a while back. This is where I was the last time I showed you, and this is where I am today. So I'm very, very close to a finish on this one. As you can see, I just need to finish colouring in the I, K and E, and I think just the H I do. Feels like I'm in a optician's appointment. Read the last line. So this, I really enjoyed stitching this one again, to be honest. I'm not saying I want any requests to do a pattern twice, but this one hasn't been that much of a chore to do. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's 3 DMC colours, and the effect is just lovely, especially on this Ada that I've bought. So this is 14 count Ada, and it is in Boardwalk. If you can see, there's like lines that run through it to make it look like wood, which I thought fitted it really well because it is a Seaside pattern. I'm 81.4% complete on this, so I'm hoping for a full finish by the end of the week. That is what I plan to do, but I am starting my new job tomorrow, so I'm just going to see how tired I am by the end of the day. So far I've stitched for 60 hours. I started this on the 19th of July, and the Ada is from Sew It All. The next pattern is a SAL that I've been working on since April, so I believe this is ongoing for a year. I'm not 100% sure, but it is released every month, and it is the hashtag the Wanderer SAL by Quarter Neon Creations. If you've been around for a little while, you've probably seen it on each video that I have released, and it's a black work pattern. It's something that I've thoroughly enjoyed doing. I can't show you what it'll look like finished because each month is a surprise. There is a vintage bookshelf, vintage bookshelf that you stitch, and then each month a bottle is released, and inside that bottle is a a city from around the world, and each month a city gets released, and it gets released with the pattern, a story about that city, and some facts about that city as well. And so far I've enjoyed every release. I've never really stitched on black work before. I'll stop whittering on about it and I'll actually show you. So this is the pattern. As you can see, there's the cabinet fully stitched, so the border's stitched, and then the first release was Venice, which was up in this corner, then Cairo, New York, France, or Paris, sorry, and the latest one was Tokyo. So if I can get a bit closer. So Tokyo was the latest release, and I have to be honest, this was my absolute favourite so far. The story that was included with it and the stitching of it and the final overall finish of it really is my favourite so far. I think it's because of the mountain. I love mountains, it just adds to it. So I can't wait for the next one to be released on the 14th of September. I'm really not sure what the next bottle's going to be. I think there might be, how many more is there left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there might be 5 more releases, but you never know, there could be like smaller ones down the bottom. But so far I am absolutely loving it. If you want to get involved with this and just want to guess what the next city is, just pop a comment in below. I've really enjoyed trying to guess it. I actually guessed Paris right, but I was nowhere near close with Tokyo. So I'm sure Britain's going to be there, London's going to be one at some point, but there's loads of other better cities in the world, so I'm sure they'll be in there as well. This one was stitched on 16 count Ada in beige, I believe, and it's with most of the called for DMC. I have subbed out the grey here for a colour I had in stash. I can't remember what one I actually stitched in. I think I've done it a few more times with some of the other colours, but it's mostly black DMC and then just colours for the flags. But yeah, I've really enjoyed that one. So that is it for my whips at the moment. I do have other whips, but I just haven't touched them this month. So hopefully they'll get a look in next time, so you can see the other things I've been stitching on. I've got a few things to show you. I've got some haul to go through with you. Not much. I've tried to not spend too much at the moment, but you know, I love a pattern. The first thing I bought, I was scrolling through Instagram and I come across this lady who was doing a de-stash, and I saw this lovely pattern. So this is called Vintage Birds. Sorry about the glare. And it's by Jeanette Douglas Designs. So it's got loads of different birds. I just absolutely fell in love with the peacock. And in the middle it's got JD for Jeanette Douglas, and I think I'm just going to change those. My partner's actually JV, so I don't know whether I'll change it to that or if I'll be a bit self-centered and change it to SC, Sophie Cullen, which is my name. But yes, I fell in love with this one. So this was from a lovely Instagrammer called Cross Stitch Sarah. I'll pop her name up here rather than me saying all the underscores because I'll clearly get it wrong. But this one, she doesn't sell patterns. I think she was just having a de-stash, but her Instagram's pretty cool as well. So there's that one. My partner's auntie was having a destash as well. She's a huge crafter. She's so talented. Her name's Libby. I don't think she's got an Instagram showing off her stuff. She just loves creating, and I'm so envious of her studio that she has. But she had a huge destash of all the cross-stitch things, gave me a massive box I need to sort out. I have kept a lot of patterns, and I can't show you all the patterns that I've kept because there's a lot of them, but this is one of them. This is called Church Walk by Derwent Water Designs. So it is quite like, I'm going to put it this side, black work-esque. I think it is mostly black work. There's some full cross in there, a lot of tent stitch, but I absolutely love this. So Johnny grew up in a little village in England, and it looks very similar to the church and the pub that we go to when we're over there. So I thought that was really, really nice design for me to stitch next, because I really do like stitching black work. So that is one of the ones that was in the patterns that I wanted to keep, and yeah, there was just so many. I'm still needing to go through a lot of them, but I've sorted them out in three piles now. So Libby, thank you so much for all of those designs, patterns should I say. I'm so excited to stitch a lot of them. Next thing I wanted to go through were new Floss Drops. So I bought these on Amazon just because I wanted them as next day delivery. So they come in a little box like this, and they are plastic. I don't usually like plastic, but because it's not going to be a single-use plastic and I will reuse these over and over again, I thought it wasn't too bad buying these. So you unclip the box, and these are the Floss Drops. So I like these because you'll be able to put the actual number from the skein onto it, and you can tie the bigger lot on here, and then if you've got any spares that, you know, small bits that you still need to work on, you can hang here. So I bought these. As well as those, I had to buy some more ring binders to hold my Floss Drops on. So I've got lots now for any future projects. These are the Floss Tubes in action. So this is the colours for the Pink and Sun landscape, and I absolutely love these colours. These are all in CXC, but as you can see, I've got the number here, and then I've got it hanging, and then I'll put any spares that I need over here. So they are the Floss Drops in action, and I've just put CXC on the back so I actually know it's not DMC and confuse it at the end. But yeah, they are the Floss Drops that I bought, and I really like them so far. Quite a good purchase. I'll link them below. I have got a bit of stitchy kindness that I wanted to mention. I was emailed by a lovely lady who owns a company called Willow Creek Stitch Company on Etsy. She's got loads of lovely little designs, and she gave me 2 free designs. So these are the designs. There's Fall is in the Air, and then there is the Halloween one. So these are quite little designs. I think the Halloween one I'm going to keep for myself. I'm going to stitch as a bookmark, just because it's a nice size for a bookmark. And then there is the Fall is in the Air pattern that I will be doing a giveaway for on this video. So if you like the look of this pattern, please go give her shop a follow. Oh, sorry, if you like the look of both of these patterns, please go give her shop a follow. The way to enter this giveaway is just to comment in the comments the word autumn. Please don't enter the word giveaway because that comment will be deleted. But if you just put autumn into your comments, and I will draw a winner who has mentioned the word autumn. It's the British way of saying fall. If you mention that in your comments, and then I'll be able to draw the winner on my next video, and I will send that PDF pattern across to you. Thank you very much, Willow Creek Stitch Company, for gifting those to me. I can't wait to stitch them, and I will show my progress on these videos. Definitely something I'll be stitching in the next coming weeks, considering it's nearly pumpkin spice latte time, which I'm very excited about. I love summer, spring, autumn's my favourite, and winter, not a huge fan. Also, just before I move swiftly on, have a look at this shop. There is an amazing pattern on there called Apothecary, and it's got black cats on there as well. So this is the picture of it, and I'm really considering buying it. It's just a nice cute pattern to buy. So I'm not sponsored in any way to mention this. It was just a lovely thing that she gifted to me, and I like to support new businesses, so go have a look. I've got a couple of mentions. The first mention is a FlossTube that I've come across recently, which I am loving. They've been around for a while, but I've only just discovered them, and I'm making my way back through the archives. I just love her style of stitching. It's very similar to mine, and she just seems like a lovely lady. So this is Cats and Horror. Let me get this right. Cats and Horror and Stitching on YouTube, but she's Cats and Horror and Stitching Oh My on Instagram. So go check her out if you haven't already heard of her. I'm sure you've heard of her before you've heard of my channel. Yeah, go have a look. Really enjoy her videos. The other mention is my Stitchy Friend that I met recently. We met up in Hereford and we've been keeping in contact, is Tan. She's got a new FlossTube that she started a couple of weeks ago, and she's put quite a few videos on there already, which I'm making my way through. She's putting me to shame with the amount she's put up whilst I've had a huge break. Her name is The Monogamous Stitcher. There are some full stops and underscores in her name, so I'll just pop that here so you can find her over on YouTube. Really enjoy her stitching. She does a lot of full coverage pieces, and she does some stitch alongs on there, which I will be watching when it comes time for me to do my full coverage piece. So go and check her out. So that's it for my stitchy things. It's quite a short and sweet one today, just because as I said at the beginning, I've been, enjoying my summer, I guess, and starting new jobs, leaving old jobs. If this is all you're here for, is the stitching, that's fine. You can log off now and I'll speak to you next time. I have a few things to go through, which are just some things I've been watching and a couple of books I've been reading. When I was on holiday camping, I don't think I touched my stitching. Maybe twice I did, but it was the weather was on and off, and I didn't want to get any of my pieces muddy or anything, so I just constantly read. I think I read about 4 books when I was on holiday. So I'll just start with the books as I was talking about them. So the first book I read was called Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. This book is incredible. My best friend lent it to me to go away with, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was so lovely and sad. I love sad books and films, and my friend Kirsty knows that, so she gave this one to me to read, and I couldn't put it down. I think I finished it in the first couple of days of holiday. So it had a lot of elements of the Handmaid's Tale book and series. It was very, very well written, and it was basically a love story in... How do I explain this? I think I say this every video. How do I explain this without butchering it or revealing the ending? So it's these kids that grow up in a school, and they're separated from the outside world, and there's a reason why. You find out, I don't want to say why, because you do find out later on in the book, that they get brought up for a purpose, and they don't know that until they get older. But it's 2 best friends and then a boy, and it's their love story, and it's all intertwined, and yeah, it's so sad at the end. I was coming to the last chapter, and me and Johnny were sat in the van when it was raining, I think, in the camper van, and I was on my last chapter, and he turned to me to say something, and I was like, please, I'm on my last chapter, and it's getting really emotional. He was like, okay, I'll leave you to it. And by the end, I just turned to him, and I had tears rolling down my face. I was like, I'm finished. And he's like, why do you put yourself through this? I don't know. I love horror. I love feeling all the emotions. I love sad things, horror, comedy, whatever. I just like feeling the emotions. So that one is a very, very good book. I would suggest reading that. The other one that I flew through on holiday was Silent Companions by Laura Purcell. That is quite a gothic book. Again, trying not to butcher it, but it is, I think it's based in the it flits between the 1600s and the 1800s, I believe. And it is a lady that goes to, she marries her husband at the beginning, and she is widowed very quickly, and you know this straight away, so I'm not giving any spoilers. She moves to his country home that he was getting ready for her from London. She moves to the country home, and when she arrives, the town is very dishevelled. They don't want to know anything about the house. They're very standoffish with her, and the house is very run down compared to what she thinks. There's elements of like Woman in Black to it, 'cause there's a nursery involved, but it's about these silent companions. I believe they're they're wooden figures, like flat wooden figures on stands, and I think they were made in Holland back in the day, and it's about these figures and their creepy goings on in the house. They just start appearing, and I won't say much else, but it goes into the 1600s, back to her husband's family from before, and why these wooden things just start appearing and scaring the living hell out of everyone, basically. It's not very scary, I didn't think anyway. It's more gothic, but I really enjoyed it. So if you like those things, go give it a go. I know that Tan read it recently. She really enjoyed it, but we were both a bit confused by the ending, which we did have to have a talk about. But I always think if you enjoy the book, sometimes the ending doesn't really matter because you just enjoy the journey. But I don't think it was a bad ending. It was just a little bit confusing. And if you do read it and you want to talk about it, just give me a message. So that's it for books. I haven't watched a lot this month just because I've been out of the house mainly without, access to TV. But over the last couple of weeks since I've been back from holiday, I have watched The Bear on Disney Plus, which is probably one of the best series I've watched in a long time. This series is about a chef and his family, and it follows his story about taking over his brother's restaurant after his brother passes away and just rebuilding it from scratch. And he is like he's not a Michelin star, but he is one of the best chefs. He's travelled around the world, and he's taken over this like sandwich shop which is really run down, and he wants to make it really good. And it's about the relationships of everyone in the kitchen. It's really like gritty in parts. There's a lot of shouting. It's quite overstimulating, overwhelming sometimes, but that is replaced by really good feelings as well. There's an incredible cast. The main cast is fantastic. There's some famous people in the second series. There's Jamie Lee Curtis, the guy who plays Saul in Breaking Bad. Loads of famous people. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think you should watch it as well. The next thing that I watched in the cinema was Barbie, and oh my god, it is incredible. It's probably one of my top films, and I've only ever watched it once. I have not stopped thinking about it since I watched the movie. The Ken song has been stuck in my head since I watched it, and my partner hasn't seen it, and he's like, what the hell are you singing? But yeah, constantly thinking about it, singing it. I can't wait till I watch it again. I don't think I need to explain what the movie's about because you've all probably watched it, but if you haven't watched it and you're umming and ahhing, I wasn't a very girly girl growing up. Barbie wasn't for me. I think the only Barbie that I had was Pocahontas. She was my favourite Barbie. It's probably because she had tattoos and she looked a bit different from everyone else, and I was obsessed with Pocahontas growing up. But yes, I would recommend the movie. It was so good, and so many poignant things in it. Great, everything about it was fantastic. So that's everything that I've been watching, reading, stitching, doing, all the ing words. Just want to thank you all so much for sitting here and watching me again, and I will be back in a month's time. I might do one earlier, I'm not sure yet. I just want to get adjusted into this new job and see how my spare time is affected now that I'll be working full time again. But yeah, I will speak to you all soon. Please let me know what you're stitching on at the moment. I've been chatting to a lot of you recently and I really enjoyed speaking to you about what you're watching, what you're stitching. Yeah, just drop me a message. I really enjoy it. Or, message in the comments below. I will draw out the winner of the competition if you pop the word autumn into your comment, and I'll do that next month when I sit down to talk to you all again. So happy stitching, hope you're all okay, had a lovely day, evening, morning, whatever time it is where you're watching. So look after yourselves, happy stitching, and I'll speak to you all soon.